Hey there, friends. My name is Wes Spencer, and I am the CISO of Perch. We are going to do, I would say, one of my most favorite things in the entire world, and that is dive into the swankiest of all swanky platforms, Perch. So if you've been living under a rock and you're like, Wes, I don't know what Perch is. Who is Perch? Let me tell you. So Perch is a co-managed threat detection and response platform. Here's what that means. We're doing all of the SOC as a service, the SIEM as a service, all of the threat detection response on the network as a service, all built in. And when we say co-manage, we mean that. So what that means for you is you have full oversight. You have the ability to log in, take a look. You just don't have to worry about all the things that burden you. You don't have to build out a SOC. We're providing that oversight for you, but we're working with you. You can handle the alerts in the way that you choose to handle the alerts. You can customize the platform in the way that you choose to customize. It's a complete open platform for you to use the way you want. So when we say co-manage, we mean co-manage in every little piece of this. So what we're going to do today is a high-level demo. What I don't want to do is dive into all the guts of Perch. I wish we could do that, but that'd be too long of a demo. If you're interested and you like what you see today and you want to dive in more, we're just a phone call. We're just an email away. Just reach out and say, hey, Perch dudes, I want to dive in, or dudettes. I want to see more of Perch. I need somebody smarter than Wes, and we're happy to accommodate and make that happen for you. That is no problem. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the Perch platform. Now, I really like our sailboat over there. He's just like floating happily. Everything is good. And then up comes Cracky, right? So Cracky is our Kraken. I like Cracky. He's like judgmentally looking at me right now. He's like, you gonna do another demo again, Wes? Well, yes, I am. They're a lot of fun. So Cracky, you're just gonna have to deal with it. So by the way, I should say this as well. It's not just the sailboat and Cracky. We have SSO that's been recently revamped. It's extremely powerful. I'm not gonna dive into that in today's demo. Just know it's available. We have help articles around all of it. So for example, if you're a Azure AD user and you want to federate all of that access for your users and have Perch just flow right through that via SSO, it's all possible. Very awesome, super powerful. But I'm just going to skip that, and I'm just going to do a single login. I'm going to hit login, and it's going to take me right into the platform. So when you first log in and land in Perch, one of the things that you should know is we're going to give you an overview into everything that's been happening in the platform. Now, I've preloaded mine as 3 months. I had it set as my default because my demo network is really quite short. So just keep that in mind. Most of the time, you probably just need a week or a month of data when you first log into your dashboard. Up at the top is our organizational picker. So you can see our managing providers, the organizations. These are all demo companies of mine, demo MSPs of mine. One great thing about Perch that I do want you to know is this parent-child relationship is extremely powerful and very verbose. It's not just parent-child, it's parent-child-grandchild as well. And that exists a lot more than that in many, many tiers. And so you can have those use cases where you may have some end-user clients that have an MSP, and that MSP has a larger MSSP over them, for example. All of those things are absolutely possible within Perch. You can see at the dashboard level a lot of things that are going on, how many organizations are there, some intelligence information that I won't cover too much in today's demo. Threats, these are like how many alerts, how many raw alerts we're getting for all of our clients together, how many escalations total. Now, let me say a little something about escalations for a minute, because escalations are really important. So escalations in the Perch world means an alert that our team has seen from the Perch platform that our machine learning or our human analysts or a combination of both have seen, and we're passing it back to you as an actionable event. So escalations can be anything from, hey, we saw a clear text password go out, or a browser toolbar that's kind of grayware that you should get rid of, all the way into real events. Now, for this demo, I looked at some of the recent escalations that we published just this morning, and we had some really interesting ones. I mean, we have some high severity ones. We saw a confirmation of a phishing attack. A user definitely clicked on it and grabbed the second stage of that. We actually had an Emotet exploit kit that we escalated as well. So I mean, we have serious escalations that happen as well. It's not just high level notable hygiene events. It's everything in between as well. So we'll talk more about escalations as we go into the demo. The rest of the dashboard is pretty standard. Organizational health. If you have issues or warnings throughout the platform, we'll be able to show you all of those things. Let me go back to it. I just realized I didn't have it open. You can also see monitored assets in your organizational count in Perch. You can see onboarding. So onboarding is important because this just gives you a view of what's happening across all of your organizations. If you're building out a ton of organizations all together, it's entirely possible that you may forget a setting. And we don't want that to happen at Perch, right? We don't want something to get missed because you forgot to click a button and finish it. So onboarding is short, it's just 5 critical steps but we'll guide you through that. You can actually bring the entire report up and see the organizations you built out in Perch. You're like, oh yeah, I didn't set an alert contact for that guy. So very simple to do those things, not difficult to have it up and running. You won't lose your way as you go throughout the platform. Also, open escalations. So these are escalations. You can see I have 3 different companies here that I have an open escalation for. As I mentioned before, these are alerts that my SOC has said, hey, this is actionable. You can open these escalations. You can see the details, the notes around it, what my team is saying to do about it. With our escalations, just know our SOC is approachable. You can actually get on a phone call with our SOC. You can do a screen share with them. If you want to dive in more, they'll do SOC puppets with you if you want to over screen share. They're here and available for you in any way that you need. Also, these escalations don't just sit in the platform. I mean, obviously you need to be here for sure, but we can push these to the PSA of your choice. So if you're like a ConnectWise manage, or you're a Datto user, or maybe ServiceNow or Freshdesk or something like that, we have integrations with those. There's a lot of different ways you can pull those alerts directly and those escalations directly into your ticketing platform. We understand why you do that, right? That's where all of your service flow happens. That's where your techs work out of. That's how all of those things happen. And so Perch accommodates that. So you'll be able to live out of your ticketing systems as well for everything. We'll push directly into those because we know that's important. You can see activity in the system. So this is helpful for customers just to see when, so to speak, buttons are pushed, right? You know, false positives, true positives, escalations, all of these things that are happening in the platform. You can see those. Now you see I just have a few little molehills here on mine, and there's a reason for that. It's just because mine is very small and short as a demo platform, but you'd have much more data. And then also closed escalations. So you can see all of the escalations we've closed down below along with the notes behind them. All of these reports are easily exportable. Also, just as a talking point, just so you're aware of it, just know that each organization also has its own individual report for that customer itself. You can export this to PDF, and it's just specific to that company. So let's say you're walking into that company and you want to share with them a high level of what we're seeing. You maybe just want to give this as a value report. You can certainly do that. So I'm not going to cover this dashboard itself in today's demo, just to stay as brief as possible, but just know that those are there. Okay. One thing I do want to pivot away from is how we get data into Perch, right? So Perch is a platform where our mission in life is to bring in any piece of data from any system, anywhere, whether it's on-prem, whether it's a laptop that's working at home, whether that's in the cloud. We want to bring all of that in. And so we're going to do that for you. And one of the ways that we do that is through integrations through APIs. And I want to show you this because it's incredibly important and something that legacy SIEMs either just don't do, or there's a lot of configuration that makes it extremely difficult and hard to do. And so where that is in settings. And by the way, I think you can't quite see settings. It's right down there. So I'm just going to kind of move for a bit so you can see it's on the bottom of my screen. So I'm going to click on settings, and I'm going to scroll down to find integrations. And here's what's great about these integrations. These are not just normal, what I would call vanilla syslog integrations. These are full API to API integrations where we're bringing data in. So you'll see a lot of like SIEMs that are out there that have like this monumental, enormous list of integrations. And if you dive into the details, they just mean syslog stuff. And so Perch doesn't count those as escalations. As integrations. That's just normal stuff that we have. That's just normal things that come in directly via syslog. That's no problem. These are API integrations. So you can see, for example, let's say I'm an AWS CloudTrail user. That's important to know. It's really good to have that in there. We can bring all of that data directly into Perch from your AWS platform, or maybe Cisco AMP or Meraki. So I'll just show you one. I'm going to click on Meraki. Here it is. It's very simple. I put in the API key. I pick the organization that this is tied to. So this is my Fury Road demo company. I'd probably pick Fury Road as the organization. I put in the shared secret, and then I tick the log collection. I'm done. It's literally that easy. Within seconds, you've got all your Meraki data coming directly into Perch, and now you can use it and do awesome things with it. It's very, very simple stuff. I'm going to go back to that settings again, and I'm going to scroll down. I should show you one more. So 2 more that are important in Perch, G Suite and Office 365, 2 of the most important ones out there because of the amount of data that's in those platforms and how important and critical they are from a usability and from a security perspective. So in Fury Road, I don't have Office 365 enabled, but I do have G Suite. So let me show this. So right here is G Suite, and you can see my settings around all this. If you want to, kind of look at the help documentation around all this, I've already set it up, so I'm not going to hit reauthorize, but it's very simple. You pop in your credentials as long as you have the current and correct credentials as an administrator. We're going to authorize in. We're going to start pulling down the data. You're going to tick this log collection button, and you're done. I mean, it's literally 10 minutes, and you're off to the races. I mean, you won't find a simpler, quicker, easier product than Perch. Setting up the account, building out the client, going to Office 365 or G Suite, adding those credentials in, and now you've got all the data coming in within seconds. I mean, you're talking, this is 10 minutes, not 10 hours, not 10 weeks, not 10 months. This is as quick and frictionless as you can possibly imagine. Really powerful stuff. Now, here's what you're probably thinking. Okay, so I've got log data coming in. Maybe it's on-premise. Maybe, like I said before, it's coming directly from your laptops that are out in the field because of the pandemic, and they're just going directly to the Perch cloud, and we're consuming the data from your endpoints. Or maybe it's from other places. But let me show you how we deal with that and how we get value out of that. So right here is the marketplace. I'm going to click on Explore, and you're going to see some really powerful things here under the marketplace itself. So these are all marketplace items. Some are built by customers, which is kind of cool, but the majority are built by Perch. And so what I do is I go through this and I say, hey, maybe I'm a G Suite user, and I'm a Cisco AMP user, and I'm an Umbrella user, and I'm a Office, well, maybe not Office 365, I'm a Meraki user, right? Just to pick some that are on here. And what I do is I go and I click on the details of these guys, I install them, and I'm done. And by the way, what's really awesome about this is you're not going to have to do this for every client you manage. If you have a suite of tools that you use inside your stack of offerings, then you can do, let me just show this to you. Just let's say everybody has Meraki that uses me as an MSP. So when I click this install button right here, I can also tick this, and it'll also install for every organization I manage. Now, this is both in history, going back, and it's going to be saying, everyone else that I'm already managing, it's going to go and do the same for them. And what's really cool, if I onboard a new client and they're managed by me, they're going to get these same configurations. So this is super powerful to eliminate just having to go back and re-click on things or missing something. I mean, it's just that easy. We put a ton of time into thinking of those things. So you can see some dashboards, event notifications. These are ones that just come right out of the box. You can always create your own. You can always edit and make your own as well. I want to show you some examples of some that I think are really, really powerful. So look at Office 365 right here. I want to open this one up. So notice we have some dashboards here. I have a regular dashboard, a login map. This one's pretty cool. If I get a minute, I'll show this to you in the demo. And then also a weekly report. By the way, let's say you don't want it weekly. Let's say you want it monthly or for whatever reason daily. You can go right into this. Again, we're an open platform and say, I don't want this weekly. I want it daily. Send it at 9 a.m. every day. And it's just that easy. Very, very simple to do those things. You can also see down below event notifications and searches that we have for all of this. And so these are really powerful things. Like let's say someone logs in from outside the US. That may not be normal. It probably isn't for your clients, and we'll alert you. Let's say you're an Australian customer. Maybe you're like, hey, no, I don't care about the US. In fact, I want to know if someone does log in the US. No problem, right? You can set this and change it from US to maybe Australia and New Zealand. Just change the country codes and you're done. Just a couple little quick clicks and you've got this thing edited. It's an open platform. And it's really powerful. It's not just things like that. We have a really good correlation engine that runs behind all this as well. I mean, it's super powerful. I've never seen its equal. So for example, let's say a user logs in from a new country. It's not just saying, is this a country that's not in this list or is in this list? It can even say, go correlate against other data and tell me if this has ever happened or before compared to something else. So it's super powerful, the things we can do for these event notifications. So just know we have lots and lots and lots of these. And what you can do is you can install these for the particular customers that need them, or like I said before, everyone can get them as part of a suite. One last one I'll leave you with, because this is extremely important, is our Windows event notifications for your classic SIEM requirements. So people ask us all the time, like, is Perch a full-fledged SIEM? Can it meet the regulatory requirements that I have for HIPAA or NIST 800-171 or FFIEC for financial or whatever it may be? And the answer is yes. If we don't have it out of the box, you can build it. We'll help you build it, but chances are we have what you need out of the box. So, for example, you can see an enormous list of the stuff we have in Windows in our advanced section. So lots and lots of things. I'll give you an example. I'm just going to Control F real quick for PowerShell. Look at all the PowerShell. 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. 5, probably more, 6, 7, 8, 9. Lots of them, right? And I'm just using this as an example. PowerShell is super important. So one thing that you need to know about PowerShell is fileless, and all modern malware, at least once it gets to the persistent stage, likes to use PowerShell, or if not PowerShell HTA or something else that's running in memory. And the reason for that is because AVs, I don't care what your AV is, it's probably going to miss it. And this is not me hating on AV. Hear me, AV is super important. You need AV in your life. It's a critical component. But eventually those prevention systems are going to fail. And the reason they're going to fail is they're designed to stop the things they know are bad. And maybe the things their ML and their AI, to use those marketing terms, say, hey, this is out of the ordinary. But they're going to miss things that happen that don't fall into those decision trees and those tables that their ML tells them. And so what do we do with that? Well, if you don't have something like Perch that's running that's going to give you good insight into like anomalous behavior, the way that malware likes to operate at a high level, you're going to miss those things. So let me give you just a simple example. Let's look at these PowerShell event notifications. And I know there's one here. Yeah, here we go. Windows PowerShell invoke web request. Now, that is not normal that PowerShell should be going out and downloading something from the outside world, right? I'm not saying it's malicious. I'm just saying that is not a normal thing. That is not something that commonly happens, and certainly something that we should be aware of and we should take action on in the case that it is malicious. So it's just one example of many that you see here that give us the capability of going way beyond just what typical endpoint prevention is going to be doing and really getting some insight into some of the behaviors and persistence mechanisms that could be happening overall in our environments that may be inflective or indicative of some kind of attack, right? So just wanted you to see some of that so you could be aware of all of the powerful things that happen inside of the marketplace. So again, the marketplace is where you go to grab and download all of the important things that exist in your platform that you need to see and you need to be aware of. All right, so now that we understand how that works, let's go take a look at alerts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go out of the marketplace. I'm going to go over to alerts right here in Perch. Now, it looks like Cobra Chicken, my demo company here, does not have any alerts. So I'm just going to go to all organizations. And this is going to bring up all of the different organizations, all of the alerts that all of my organizations are seeing all together. Now, I don't want you to worry about any of this. My team handles everything that happens here. So as these alerts roll in, it's my team, my SOC's responsibility to analyze it, to take a look at what's occurring here, and to make the triaging analysis. Sometimes our ML does it, sometimes our humans do it, sometimes it's a combination of both. But what's happening here is we are taking a look at these alerts. Now you have full view into them. You can actually see them, you can open them, you can look at them. But what our team will do is when we look through them, if it's an escalatable event, it requires action on your part, we will pass it over to you. We will move the status from not reviewed into escalation. That kicks off a bunch of automations, including going into your PSA. And we're going to give you notes around it. So let's just pull up this top level alert here. I'm not going to dive into what this alert is. We can go, again, more technical if you want to later. But what I'm going to do is just want to open it so you get an idea of what you see here. So this is what my SOC would use. We see all the information around all of it. We see confidence scoring, as you see right here, the very first time, last time we see it in Perch. We even build our own confidence scoring based upon past analyst dispositioning history. In other words, Perch has 2 million endpoints under management now. That's a lot of visibility. And so what we do is we pass all of that back. And so when we see this alert historically in the past, what do we know about it? What have we done in the past? And you can see here, this is a high fidelity alert. So this is good for us to see. And then down below, you can see the actual alert itself. There's more information that exists here. So for example, the Perchibana link right here, this takes you into our SIEM. So if you wanted to dive in and take a look and see what our SIEM knows about it in the raw data, you could do it. And again, in a demo, I'm happy to do that for you. Also, remediate and false positives. So our team will close out alerts that do not matter for you. The remediation is really powerful. I'm just going to go over here. I'm going to type notes, but we would do something like, hey, this particular threat is XYZ and you need to do ABC. So we would give you all the information around it. Also, like maybe we say we are going to update our controls, and then watch this. This is really powerful. Let's say this external IP right here. In this case, this network alert, I can actually push a block to the firewall blacklist, which is really awesome. So I can do some things here like, now you do need, by the way, your dynamic block list set up on your firewall, but we could go out and issue a block to this remote host. So let's say this is real malware and we're trying to wake you up at 2 a.m. on a phone call because this thing is legit. And if you give us the ability and permission, we can actually push blocks and give you that stopgap time to get to it. Another thing that's really cool, maybe even more cool than this, and I don't have it set up here for this demo company, is integration into the RMM. So we don't have access to your RMM, but what we can do is we can run scripts that you've hard-coded for us to run. So for example, let's say you have a very simple script that just pulls a machine offline, does a Windows block all, and that's all it does. One thing that we could do, if that were enabled, there's another check mark over here. We can run particular scripts if you give us permission. So this is pretty powerful. We could say, hey, go to this machine right here, this internal machine, and also pull that guy offline. And again, that just gives you the stopgap control to get to it. So it's a really powerful thing from an orchestration capability. And I truly don't think, in fact, I know you will not see orchestration capabilities like this from anybody else. I mean, it's truly awesome leading edge stuff. Anything you can do through the RMM, Perch can push and do for you. So it's really, really, really powerful. Okay, so that's just a quick view on alerts. There's more to it than that, and happy to show you more in a demo, as I've mentioned before. But the other thing that I wanted to do, we've shown the marketplace, we've shown integrations and APIs, but I also want to show you dashboards and data that comes into Perch, because this is important stuff too, and really important for you to know, because this is where the value oftentimes comes from. So even though we're providing the Overwatch, you need to have these dashboards and demo or data that comes into your platform that you can use to share with your customers. And so I'm going to show you some examples. We've got a lot. And again, these are all installed from the marketplace, by the way, right? So I just went to the marketplace. I added different ones into my demo platform. So let me show you the Office 365 report. So this one, I've got a weekly report. I've just got a general one. I'm just going to show you this general one here just because I want you to see it. So by default, this is going to load over the last 15 minutes, but I want to show you how blazing fast Perch is. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do 30 days of data. And the reason I want to do this, it's already done and already loaded. I mean, it's just that quick. Now, I don't have workload usages over time enabled on my dashboard report, but normally it would show you things like, you know, how much SharePoint or Azure AD or whatever it may be in your O365 and Azure environments, how much usage over time. So if I saw a big spike at like 3 a.m. in SharePoint, that's a huge red flag, right? Not only is it a red flag because it's abnormal, but even when you think about like how typical malware works today, if you think about it that way, malware is not just, or ransomware really, I should say, is ransomware doesn't just go ransom machines today in this day and age. They understand, hey, if you don't pay up on the ransom, we're going to exfiltrate all of your data and we're going to like leak it open for anybody to see. It's just kind of a second insurance that they have, so to speak, that give them the capability of saying, hey, you better pay up. And so what happens if you see a big spike in SharePoint? That could be evidence of some kind of exfiltration event in which you need to be aware of so you can take action right away, just as one example that you might see. And so I'm just showing you all of that because I think it's important for you to know that you have that visibility in Perch to see all of those things. And there's more in the report too. I mean, users, compliance threats, mail threats that you see here. You also see failed logins, which users, how many times, how many sources. I can actually dig those sources up and see where they're coming from. I mean, just really, really good, rich data. I won't get into all of it in this report here, but I just wanted you to have a good high-level overview of some of the things that do exist and the power that exists for all of those things. Also, we have maps available too. And so you can build some really cool threat maps inside of Perch as well. I just want to show you a sample. So here is the map itself, and then I can overlay all kinds of data as long as it's been IP enriched into Perch. And so rather than building one for scratch for you, let's just show you a sample one to give you an example of what we can do. So again, going back to demo data from my Office 365, I'm going to show you my login map. So here it is, and this is really cool. Now this is what I thought. I just have failed logins here. But you can see, because it's just some demo data, but you can see over the last 8 hours alone, I've got a bunch of failed logins. So I can like scroll over here to East Asia and kind of dive in. Let's take a look at Thailand over here. So I can see this Dob King at perchsecurity.com failed login, right? Now, why is this useful? Well, this is good to show senior management, hey, we're a target and people are trying to log into our environment. But what happens if it's a successful login? It's good to see. We generate an event notification, let you know about it. Or maybe what happens if somebody disables two-factor and logs in? Just, who knows what it could be. But really important, powerful things like that that really give you the important early warning notification of something that is happening. So these reports are great. What would happen, though, if you want to say, hey, these reports are important for me, it's great, but I need to be able to send these out on a cadence, right? So let me show you how you do that. Right here is scheduled reports, and this is really great. Let's just say, let's play the part of a bank. Let's say I've got a bank as a customer. So FFIEC is the conglomeratory regulating agencies together, and let's say instead of calling it the Perch FFIEC report, I am going to say, let's call it Bank of the USA FFIEC report, right? And let's say I wanted to go out on a monthly basis, and I wanted to go out on the first day of the month, and I wanted to go out, banker's hours, right? So let's say 9 a.m. Sharp. And let's say I also wanted to go out to not just people in Perch that use, like my customers in Perch, but I want to go to maybe the CEO himself, right? So CEO at bankster.com or whatever it is, right? And it goes out right to them. I could have multiple emails, right? But you see how powerful this is, right? So now that FFIEC banker report, which I didn't show you, but we have it there, gives him all the things he needs to know. 9 a.m. fresh. So he's never coming back to you being like, hey, this SOC thing that you were telling me about that I have, I'm glad they're watching it. What are they doing for me? He knows. He can see all the data. He can see the alerts as they come in. He's aware of all of these things as they happen, which is super, super great. You can always access your reports as well. Instead of just being emailed to you, you can click on reports right here. And this is where all of your reports land at as well. So you can actually open these and download any that you generated. So very easy to get access to your reports, very easy to see all of the things in Perch. Now, there are a whole lot more things to Perch than just that, but I wanted to give you an overview. I wanted you to see the high level, just so you kind of have a really good picture and understanding of all the powerful things that Perch can do. So let me kind of peel it back to us again and make sure that we all understand exactly what we're talking about. So Perch is a co-managed threat detection and response platform that gives you visibility into all sources. Whether it's your laptop that's, again, running at home because you've got all these work from home users, whether it's on-premise classic data from syslog and from network transmission stuff that's happening across the network, whether it's cloud data, things that are happening in the cloud like Office 365 or Meraki, whatever it may be, all of those things we're pulling into one ecosystem, letting you visualize and see it, letting you alert on it, letting you customize anything you want with all that data. And then the most important thing, you've got a 24/7, 365 security operations center from Perch that's providing the overwatch. So you can truly offer managed cybersecurity like you've never been able to do before directly from the Perch platform. I hope you've enjoyed this demo. If you would like to learn more about Perch and dive in, check out our website, perchsecurity.com. We would love to talk with you more. We'd love to set you up with a demo. We'd love to show you what we're all about. Really appreciate your time today.